Greetings guys, this is Pt2 back again for another video. This is part 2 of our Steallar video. Thankfully got more like cruiser 1v1s just to test, just to see what they're like. We did get some fights against gangs. Not too much to add from the previous video. I do have another fit up. That's like dual prop. It's more designed for nullsec and like going for KD stuff. So you'll see that to the left there with instead of the what's it called? The override, we're using a reactive control unit for the extra power grid, so we can use an MWD. We dropped the adaptive, but so we have less speed in tank, but the MWD allows us to do like nullsec a lot easier, or go over after KT stuff, right? Like I'm sliding into it. So yeah, a lot of stuff. I'm still making mistakes, man. The last couple of weeks I've been terrible for my heat management, so you'll see that in this video. I do apologize. It probably will be very frustrating for you, but yeah, good to include the losses, right, so that we're more motivated to not make said mistakes, right? It's good to be hard on yourself for your mistakes to improve. So yeah, not too much of an intro this one. Let's get on to the fights. Okay, for this first fight, we've got an Omen and a Punisher. I see this guy landing on the Plex. I stayed down outside hoping to catch him, thinking he was KD. This actually ends up to be a Brawling Omen. So I end up thinking orbiting 5k is going to be the smartest call here. I'm looking to perhaps get underneath his pulses a little bit, but not like damage our tracking too much as well. Maybe orbiting closer would have been the smart call here. Like perhaps orbiting, say, like 2k or something. I was just a bit worried that orbiting that close would affect us significantly. Maybe if we orbited closer, the newts would have... Because it seems like he probably doesn't have a cap inject. Because it'd be AB web scram, right? Or MWD web scram. But I basically keep at 5k and hope to get underneath his guns somewhat. Apply quite well ourselves and see how that goes. This might be, again, the wrong play, but I think this was the way to go. The Punisher's definitely adding DPS. I'm glad that the Punisher isn't like a weird like prop web or scram web fit. So the extra web from the Punisher would have helped this Omen significantly. The Omen appears also to be quite heavily buffer tanked. You'll see that our charges are getting quite low, and this Omen's still applying relatively well, getting occasional grays, but mostly good hits. So it seems like my strategy didn't play as too well as what I was expecting. But a lot of grazing, so I think this was probably the right call to mention if you think it would be better to orbit closer. So at this point, all my charges are gone. I'm really low. I'm actually worried that the Punisher will do enough DPS as to where it finishes. So I think I've neuted out the Omen, right? His tackle and stuff came off me. So I want to get my 2 newts onto the Punisher just to kill his guns. Some Punishers are projectiles, but I was thinking that maybe this would be like hybrids or energies. So just to like turn off his tackle and his guns, just I was a bit worried I'd maybe be able to finish us off with the low hull buffer we have. So we take down the Omen really close, man. We're out of cap. And yeah, we very quickly finish this Punisher too, thankfully. The newt's turning off whatever prop mod he has, and we can track the thing. Okay, here we have a fight against an Augur Navy issue. I've never fought one of these, so I was very curious to see what his fit was. It was AB web scram buffer, of course, and 2 newts with no cap injector. So he ends up really hurting himself running these 2 newts. Basically what I'm thinking at the start here is either he's cap injected web scram, or he has some form of prop mod and I need to newt him out before he newts me out. So along with the capacitor that the guns are taking up as well as those 2 newts, he must be suffering quite hard, man, with man-newt pressure too, right? So our projectiles aren't using any cap. Like most of my tank isn't using any cap, right? Just the, of course, the AB and adaptive. Like I'm not too pressured if I run out of cap because of the extra large ANSI. We can still keep that running without capacitor. So I'm totally out of cap. He's struggling. He's taking off his newts. And either he's struggling to run cap for his prop mod or his guns. You see, I'm not taking much damage here. And basically what I end up doing is I believe I just keep him at 2.5k and DPS him down. So once I stabilize my cap, I'm pretty golden, right? I just need to keep an eye because it seems like he's pulling a range from me on occasion. I think that's just my keep at like pulling me out. But he starts, I think, putting his drones onto mine. He's just not getting any cap to get his guns to shoot again. The prop mod, it's a very bad time for him. Had he not run those newts, I think he would have been a far better spot. We would have probably ended up neuting him out, or it would have been a very closer fight. He's a very tanky ship. But yeah, those newts really did hurt him, man. It's very interesting. I think I was expecting like cap inject, web scram, newts, which I think would be quite powerful. But with the prop mod and the fact that his guns need capacitor, this was a very hard fight for him. So GF, my friend. But I wouldn't feel too sorry for these two losses, because they do end up getting a revenge, man. I end up going for one of them in the Omen. And unfortunately, where there's one Omen, there's usually another one. This Omen Navy issue comes in. And it's a very bad time for us, so we did eventually go down to these two. Still a pretty sweet fight. I do try and end up aligning, albeit too late to escape. And yeah, we just can't handle the DPS from these two Omens. One's still pretty rough, man. Both these guys being brawling. And we, yeah, we very quickly go down. Everyone's burning out. It's not a fun time. So, yeah, GF, lads, GF. Okay, for our next fight, we have a cool little fight against a gang. This is pretty much the perfect thing that you want to fight, man. Just like destroyers and a little frigate gang like this is perfect. There's also like two groups sort of at it. We'll see a couple of thrashers that come in a little bit. I don't believe they're together, so it's the DPS isn't always on me, so it's a bit weird. So basically, I primary the destroyer. Super easy to track. Does the most DPS and quite squishy. First, like DPS, right? So destroyers first. Then we'll work on the frigates and stuff. I did put the newts initially on a thrasher. That's not really a great idea, because it's going to actually take you quite a while to newt out a destroyer. So you're probably on track without the newts helping you. So try and keep those newts on the frigates, you know. More so stuff like Atrons or stuff that requires capacitor for his guns is going to go down quickly, right? So then I primary the Atron. I then I think I end up like going to the Breacher for some reason. Then I quickly switch over to the Thrasher. Like Thrashers, Coercers, these kind of things. You want to get those off the field rapid, man. Catalyst, you know, just like high DPS destroyers. If they're allowed to stay on grid for a while, just keep on like hitting you for the amount of how long it takes you to get rid of those. So destroyers primary and something like this, and then you can work on the frigates. Maybe keep your dual newts on the frigates whilst you work on the destroyers, right? That's generally what I do here. So everything's going well. Next Thrasher. Work him down. Tracking shouldn't be too much of a problem, just because they're large second, you're relatively slow, especially if it's MWD fit. Now Scram turns that off. So yeah, make sure work at the Thrasher. My newts are doing work in the Breacher, killing his AB and potentially a small Antsy if it's dual rip. And then we'll make quick work of him. And yeah, this is a fun little fight. It's just a shame there would be some form of tackle to come in at the end for the next blob, wouldn't it? Yes. Yes, not point in shade. Dark Magni! You know, him and his boys. I was so close. Once I seen Dark Magni, I was like lighting out, and I was so close to get away. But no. So GF, boys. Alright, so here's going to be our first fight in Null. And the only one in Null. So I see Arbitrator here with the MWD makes very quick work of approaching him. I believe I have Fusion or Phase loaded. This actually ends up being like a Kaidi Shield Arbitrator. I'm very surprised by the DPS this guy puts out. I was currently streaming at the time. Thankfully, this guy gives a good 1v1. So I have much respect for that. So yeah, basically I'm going to keep him at 5k. Like, you know, maximize our tracking towards this Arby. Just look to tank relatively well. And yeah, I'm just really surprised how much DPS this Arbitrator put out, man. It's really good. It's actually quite a nice little 1v1. But I find the Stabber super cheap and pretty good for now, right? The dual prop. Like, a lot of people are surprised actually how the speed that this Stabber can put out. Which is nice. It has a lot of tank, still doing good DPS. The only thing is I haven't been having too much luck in Null. I don't know. I don't know if Null's for me. I'm more of a Lowsec boy. But when we do come out here, it's very appreciated of getting a 1v1 against Arbitrator. Very quickly after, I think we got dropped by like a super or something, which was nice. But you know, the Arbitrator 1v1 was fun before that. And yeah, we do end up taking this. So GF Frenic. Okay, here we have a fight against Baltrom and Nergal. I was curious to see how this would work. I was hoping that my new pressure would turn it a bit more to my favor. So basically, I want to stack my reps like this. So we're constantly applying new pressure. We don't apply too well for guns. I keep at range 6k here. I think I maybe would have been better if I just double click in space, right? To put that into the comments if that's the best way to do this. But I was really hoping to apply better with my guns. We do still get the occasional hit, not enough to force it to like rep as much as I want, right? That's really what we need to do, is force this Nergal to constantly rep, yeah, so the cap can do something. That's why I'm sort of keeping heat on the newts, as opposed to the gun, right? It's going to be, I see the scram, and I've seen a lot of the Nergals being like, scram, cap injected, prop. That's sort of what I'm expecting here, so I'm hoping we can, like, maybe newt him out before the cap booster or something. But you'll see how much DPS this Nergal ends up spilling to, which is pretty awesome, man. Very much near the end, right? They have like really low starting DPS. We'll soon start to see those bigger hits, and I'm like, uh-oh, I don't think we have this, man. I'm just constantly in hope that my newts are going to do their thing. They might not pull it clutch for me, but yeah. He does also end up looking to attack my drones, but that yeah, no. I think we'd be able to tank pretty much everything I threw at it. Especially after seeing the recent video that Battletrump did. Feel free to like go watch that, 'cause it's awesome. Where he tanks like 20 dudes. And then I was like, oh, okay. But it was still like a good 1v1, man. I was expecting him to be able to tank my DPS. I was just hoping that the news would pull out more for us. Perhaps if you had a medium newt in there somehow, it would have worked. But you'll see those big hits now, which is pretty awesome, right? Once the Nergal gets his spill up, it's pretty sweet, man. Just those big like chunks. So yeah, this is a cool fight regardless of the loss. Yeah, GF Battletrump. Okay, are you guys ready to see the best goddamn piloting of your life? I think so. Okay, so this is a dual prop that I know this Omen's probably going to be Katie, especially since I'm sliding into them. There's not often see Brawling Omens, like, to start with it. So I was hoping to just, like, catch him at the start here, just approach, but you'll see that I'm sort of, like, keeling over to the side, where I should really be, like, you know, like, manual piloting my ship, but, you know, that's something, you know, I really need to, like, do more of this, as opposed to, like, approach, orbit, all this kind of stuff. And this Omen's applying a lot of DPS here. I was basically just expecting to like get scram at the start, especially how fast the Steallar is. So I'm like, oh no, we need to actually do stuff. So I aligned back to Llama, and then I basically look to street approach and hope that that does it for me, right? Which thankfully ends up doing. Even then, there's still some very shoddy play by my part, man. This whole like people not being in brawl range as soon as they come into the plex, how dare they, you know, like forcing me to like actually pilot and stuff. And I'm not even doing this, but we do end up getting scram, thankfully. I want to orbit, activate AB. I kill this. I take the scram off. We drift out of orbit. It is awful. Had our friend kept on what's called spamming his MWD, could have pulled off. And we would have been in a very bad spot. You'll see, like, gosh, just it's a bad show, man. I apologize. But we do end up getting this Omen because he's very, very squishy. So GF, my friend. Okay, don't underestimate your opponents. This next fight's like a cool little gang. This Corrorer, mate. Dude, I know Beam Corrorer do a lot of DPS, but wow. So basically, I'm starting the vengeance because he started first. I want to kill the Corrorer, right? Of course, like, destroyers first. I start my reps a bit late here, I think, and I'm kind of underestimating the amount of DPS. I'm expecting to, like, just, like, nuke this Corrorer. He takes a while to go down, but the alpha this Corrorer is putting out just kills us. So GF Yondu. Okay, here we have a fight against a triple rep Fixer. I think he's trying to think that he's like a VNI. But I know this is a cool fight, so basically I stagger my reps, my newts, sorry, to try and affect his active tank. He could have been buffered, but I expect most Vexers to be active. And what I end up doing is trying to lock my own drones. I'm trying to lock his, so we can like put our drones onto his, and then just like annoy him that way. I'm surprised how much DPS we're applying here, and I'm actually surprised at the outcome of this fight. Just very nice. So I think the news done quite a large play in this. I'm not sure if he was running all three reppers or just, it seems like he was just running one or two. So I'm really surprised at how we're able to actually break this fellow's tank at one point. So I end up just like killing the bigger drones. just to either force them to bring them in to reduce DPS, or just to kill them outright, right? Because most Vexers have just like one big DPS set. Usually, what is it? It's like 2 mediums, 1 light, and 2 heavies. I should really probably be focusing down the heavies as opposed to the 2 mediums. This fella doesn't also seem to be paying too much attention to his drones. And I don't know if he was using heavies, was he? No, he wasn't. He was using hops and then mediums, I think. Which is interesting. So you should have those 2 heavy drones out, or just like 2 full mediums. So I don't think this pilot was quite on point for this fight. So that may have like been a large play into this factor. So yeah, like I'm taking no DPS, man. I don't think he's putting out any more drones. I think we're currently being shot at... Oh no, he did put out more drones. Okay, that's a lie. So he does put those out. We're slowly breaking him. I'm quite happy at this point. We've gone for about half of our reps. I'm still using my drones to DPS his drones. No, be a bit annoying. Just work those down. And yeah, I noticed we're breaking him here, and I'm like, ooh, excellent. We have 3 more charges to go. I don't know where his DPS is. There's an ogre, so I'm like, alright, yeah. That's what we really wanted to kill at the start there. If you get rid of those, like, that DPS set, we're pretty much golden. And yeah, just, like, whittle them down, slowly but surely. But, oh, we also burn out our adaptive. Yes, I am just burning out stuff, mate. But we do end up killing him now. Which I'm surprised, because after looking at his fit, he should be able to tank for days. But, GF. Okay, here's a cool little mirror match. Basically, I want to knew him out before I do, right? Sort of knowing that he's in the same fit as me. Basically, like a war of newts, whoever newts the other one first usually wins or has the advantage. I just basically keep this guy at 6k and just apply full damage. Or I believe we're almost in the exact same fit. And just work him down, right? I get the lock on quicker, which is good for me. So that also may have done a play. I believe I'm also using EM damage, and he was using thermal. So that also may have had a play in this engagement. So basically there's not too much else to say. He does use his drones on mine, which I find very peculiar. I don't know if that'd be works, but perhaps in a more sustained sort of fight, like say if we were dual red cap injected as opposed to the extra large ANSI, where it's basically just like an extended buffer as opposed to being like fully active, right? I think that would have been a smart play. But in terms of just like DPS race, I feel like using his drones to kill mine wasn't the right call here. I could be wrong. I feel like he would have been maybe better keeping his drones on me, especially if maybe using hobs as opposed to hornets. But it seems like at the DPS I'm seeing now he's using warriors, so maybe it was the right call. I don't know. Yeah, I've got plenty of charges left. I haven't been counting his charges, so I don't know where he is in terms of tank. We have like we're actually at very same kind of level here, looking at it armor wise and stuff. Not knowing how many charges he has, though, makes this quite interesting. You notice that all his E-War is dropped off of us, so I assume I've neutered him out. I stopped using my reppers, right? I probably turned off his adaptive, which is also a big play into me, unless he's maybe switched off his newts and is conserving cap for his adaptive. But we have one more charge left, and thankfully we end up taking it. So GF Pirate. Here's a fun little fight against a group again. I see one of my BSB bros and fighting these guys growl, and I think he's having trouble, so I figure I'd help. I primary demolish because I'm worried that they might have like some kitey stuff, and this Mollusk is going to damp me. And so I basically kill him first, just in case he ends up like kiting out and of course damping us. So that's my primary there. Then I work on the enemy comments. I think, yes, we go for the enemy comments. Atron might have been maybe the right call there, because it would have been super swishy and it's doing still relatively good DPS if it's blaster fit. So yeah, using my dual newts just to like, you know, do the same thing, kill their props, and then apply thing. Our friend went down not too long ago. So yeah, it's good, because that initial start at the start there where they were all DPS and down, or BSB bro, it was good to give me a bit of leeway to work in some DPS there. Had we maybe start fighting a gang at the start, it would have been a bit of a different, you know, different outcome. Well, actually, it's not going to be a different outcome. But yeah. So we end up eventually taking out that Atron. I go for the Comet. I see the Dram and the Malediction are quite far out there. That's the kiting. That's what I was sort of worried about. Potentially if that Moss was still here, pulled range and damped it, and it maybe was like a fleet fit. Those two kiting boats would have been a problem for us. Hey, and we're continuing to burn stuff out, boys. Yeah, that pretty much sealed the deal here. We do end up eventually taking this Navy Comet, but yeah, after time and they bring in some more stuff, the kitey stuff, it does eventually whittle us down. So just be mindful of your heat management. Do not be like me, alright? Okay, I come back and see the Galganer again. I looked at another fight out of them. This is a lot rougher than the previous one. So I see the Jackdaw go on that, or he goes on me or something like that. We started engagement anyway. I was hoping for them to be like more T1 frigates and stuff that would be good for engaging, like they were previously. Like that looks all well and good, but unfortunately there's a bit more than there was previously. So basically primary the Thrasher. I don't actually track this guy too well, like or he's just really tanky. Like mentioning before, like it shouldn't be too much of a problem tracking Thrashers, but I believe this guy gets under our guns somehow, which is quite interesting. And yeah, I'm not killing DPS quick enough. There's a bit much for me to handle. Nergal's doing its thing. The Thrasher's not going down as quick as what I'd like, and we go down. Okay, this is a 1v1 versus a Rupture. This is a buffer Rupture. Basically, what I'm hoping to do is like maybe get off his guns somewhat, because I feel like most Ruptures aren't really rocking 180s. So we have the advantage of having the better tracking just because we have the small guns. We also have the fall off bonus. I'm thinking maybe orbing out 6.5k. We can maybe mitigate some damage through his guns. And maybe, I don't know, some form of way. It might be better orbiting closer, but you'll find that I basically want to orbit 6.5k, but due to his A-beam web, I guess, it takes us too long to pull out and start orbiting. So you'll see we basically just like try and tank him fully. He's tanking us fully. I'm not really that keen on buffer cruisers unless it's like sort of shieldish. I feel like the dual rep Rupture is a lot stronger, or like maybe like add on like a dual web buffer Rupture to like maybe go kill like frigates and destroyers and stuff. But yeah, we do end up taking this one. The next fight is a dual rep Rupture. It's a bit more of an interesting fight. But nevertheless, thank you so much for the 1v1. Ostara, it still was relatively close, right? But we did have quite a few charges left, so I wasn't too worried. But nevertheless, it was still a good GF for sure. Okay, dual rep Rupture. I feel like dual rep, like highly sustained fits, are going to be a hard one for the Stabber. I was actually quite surprised that we bet that Vexer back in the video, but I think that's because he maybe wasn't quite on point in that day. Had he been like on it, he probably would have had it. Nevertheless, I still feel like the two newts working down the buffer still gives us a chance, right? So I'm doing the same strat that I was looking to do in that other Rupture, orbiting 7.5k. Perhaps reduce the the tracking somewhat of this fella, but he's also 180s, which is interesting. I was expecting some form of newt. I was curious to see what his extra utility slot is. He has newt fit, but I believe he was conserving cap. So he does actually end up putting newt on us near the end here, which is very smart, right? Especially once we've used up some of ours, and it really hurts me, man. You'll see that this pilot does know what they're doing. So yeah, basically that's all I can really add to this. You may have a reactive that shouldn't apply too much to us. I mean, we'll only be doing kinetic and explosive damage, so that might also come into effect. You see that he puts his newt on us now, which is very interesting, especially now that I have low on cap. If he kills our adaptive, it's going to be a hard play for us. I mean, if we didn't end up burning it out sometime in this fight. But I can still at least run most of my tank, right? Which is alright. Like, it'll kill our AB, which won't be too much of a problem. I'm hoping that I've somewhat reduced his charges. The thing is with these like cap injected dual rep cruisers is they have a lot of sustain and they can survive for a good time, right? You're basically just got an extended buffer. And that makes sense. So if they can just survive your DPS for long enough, they should be able to win. Nevertheless, it still is pretty close. I will give it that. I'm not sure whether he's like struggling for cap, or he's potentially ends up burning out something or something. But it's quite a long drawn out fight. He's not doing a lot of DPS, mostly tank fit, I believe. He might not be running gyro. Well, maybe if we didn't burn out that adaptive, we might have pulled through. So it does look like he was getting very close near the end, unless he's potentially bait tanking me. I do end up getting the cap back, and that cap would be great to use on that AB if he didn't start neuting again. Or actually, I should have maybe used my newts here with that cap. For foresight. But yeah, so we do end up losing this, but it seems like it would have been a lot closer had I also been on point. Yeah, slowly dipping into his cap. If we kept that adaptive on, maybe use those newts when our cap was still available, we could have potentially had this. Now, you think I'd end this video with like on a high, right? Like a good moment. But similar to the last video, let's end on a Jaguar. Now, we've been talking about heat management for a lot in this fight. Heat management is very important for life. I don't know what it is, man. I've been on it. And could potentially be getting sold by a Jag in this video. I don't know. I'll just tell you this. ABs are important. ABs are very, very important for this. And we may end up burning out the AB, which we just did. And this Jag might actually be able to get her for guns. There's also a really... You see that? You keep on seeing those stuff dropping, right? After we end up aligning out. And now warping. But I believe he scrams me to some about warp again. And I forget that like kills your speed. And I don't get out. So... God damn it! This felt bad. This felt really bad, man. This should have really happened. It's a shame that his buddy came on. He didn't put any damage on me. But he didn't get into kill mill, because it would have been a sick solo kill mill. Which this guy basically pretty much solo does. So nevertheless, GF to this Jag. And yeah. Oh. There we have it. Mate, I need to stop making mistakes here, man. I don't know what it is about the whole burning out thing. But there's a lot of fights here that we could have been done a lot better. Especially with that Jag, man. That stung. That really stung. As a surefire win or escape. But let's not lull on that too much, man. It is what it is. Mistakes are made more by some than others. But yes, a bit of a longer video today. Hope it was somewhat enjoyable. Loving the stabber. I'm keen for hams these days, so the next few videos might be like more messily. Yeah, I'm great fond of the Cargill Navy issue, so I might get that out. So yeah, got a good couple of 1v1s against cruisers, man. I think like the ones with more sustain, like I said, like the dual rep Captain Jacks. I think we'll give the stabber a hard time. He can be one though, like he's been seen against that Vexer. I'd be curious to see how it handles like a 4x. A Moa probably, I think that'd actually be quite easy. I think we'd actually take it against a Moa just because they don't have much like cap, right? Usually they're like extra large and say and maybe an adaptive and no way of regaining cap, so we would eventually nuke out a Moa, I feel, before we died. What else would be quite interesting to fight? But yeah, that pretty much just like dual rep fits might be a bit of a problem for it, like buffer fits, and you can still go for those dual rep ones. But enough of my murmuring, guys. Like I do appreciate you guys watching my videos. I do hope you guys had a good Wednesday and have a good rest of your week and stuff. And yeah, I'll see you on the next video.